everyone, and welcome to Ask MandR, episode 259, the question where I answer your series. The series where I answer your questions. If you guys have a question you want to answer next week's episode, leave it down in the comment section below, and this episode is sponsored by Harry's. More on them later. Our first question isn't a question that anyone asked, but it's still something I want to talk about because I think someone's going to ask it this week anyway. Is this supposed leaked image of a 442nd Trooper real? And it's very much up for debate. If I was gonna bet money on it, I would say that it's probably fake, but that doesn't mean it is. It very well could be real. It's just impossible to tell. I'm guessing that it's just a color swapped image of a 212th Trooper. It's the exact same armor set, except they don't have any of the damage marks, so you don't see those like little light gray damage marks that we see on the 212th Trooper, but we see the same awful helmet printing, and it's otherwise the exact same print, really, and that's why I think it's a color swap, but it's also very much something Lego Star Wars designers would do, in that they would do an exact color swap instead of making a specific armor design for a new Trooper. It very well could be the 442nd Troopers for a Swamp Speeder, and if they do look like this, it's very, very bad because the helmet print has not been fixed. But I still think it's fake. First question from a real person comes from the Lego Brit, and he says, what do you think is behind the lack of Bad Batch sets? When Rebels first released, they had a whole wave of sets, and it wasn't as big as the Bad Batch. I don't know if it wasn't as big as the Bad Batch. I don't look at viewership numbers for anything Star Wars. I just don't really care about that sort of thing. But when Rebels came out, it was kind of like the only thing. And I think that's the pretty obvious answer here. The Bad Batch is not the only thing happening right now. The Bad Batch is like 5th on the tier list. I don't know, maybe 5th is pretty far down. But like, Bad Batch is just not as important as Rebels was to Star Wars at the time. The Mandalorian is the thing. Love it or hate it, and I think most people love it, obviously. The Mandalorian is far more popular than the Bad Batch ever will be. And as such is getting the lion's share of sets coming out. And then there's also like fan demand for Clone Wars sets, which Lego is making at some pace. And so instead of making a Bad Batch set, they'll make a Clone Wars set like Yoda Starfighter, when instead of Yoda Starfighter, because I think that's dumb, they should have made like a V-Wing that includes some cool Bad Batch Trooper figures. We've touched on this a lot, but yeah, I mean, Rebels was the thing, and Bad Batch is not the thing. It also very well may not help our chances of getting Bad Batch sets in the future for the Justifier to be the lone Bad Batch set available right now and be one of probably the worst selling Lego Star Wars sets of the last 4 to 5 years. It is a horrendous shelf warmer. They really overreached on this set. If I was designing this set, or it would have looked really bad because I can't design sets, but if I was in charge of saying how they should design this set, let's just put it that way, it would not have been $170. It would have been much more in line with the Inquisitor Scythe Transport at around $100. That's the cap for a set like the Justifier, something that you see once in an animated show like that. Like, making it $170 is akin to the Twilight in 2008, I believe. They should have taken Yavin 4 from this year and released it last year as the big summer set. That would have been really cool. That makes a lot more sense to me. And just done a gunship this year as the big summer set in place of Yavin. So you move that spot up one, put in a gunship this year for $150 or whatever Yavin's gonna be. And then the Justifier either doesn't exist at all and you put Cad Bane and Omega in a different set, or you make a smaller $70 to $100 version of the Justifier. But that's probably the last time we'll talk about the lack of Bad Batch sets. I think it's pretty obvious that it's just not the thing, and Lego has not done it any favors by making its set a $170 just abomination to many people. I like the set. I think it's cool. I think it's well done, but I can't deny that the general consensus of the community is that it's way overpriced for such a niche thing. And that's, if that's what people think, then that's what it is, you know? Fritz says, do you think the Lego Star Wars fans are missing out on molded creatures? It seems like we rarely get any creatures anymore. I personally love to see a Bogo from episode 3 or a Rancor from Book of Boba Fett. And I don't think you're missing the mark here. This isn't something I've given a lot of thought to, but it's been a while since we've seen the Tauntaun and the Wampa. Obviously the Rancor, it's been since 2013. Jabba's kind of a molded creature. We haven't seen him since 2013. Like, a lot of these big molded things that they used to do for Lego Star Wars are just seemingly nowhere to be found anymore. Tip Top says, what set was so bad you considered not buying it? I think it's better for me to buy a bad set at some point because I get to make more videos out of it. Like, there are some sets that are so bad, like the foosball table, that I only bought it because it was so bad. Although I was interested in it to begin with because I really love foosball. But like, the foosball table ended up being such a horrendous set that I'm like, I would love to make a video talking about why I think this sucks. Let me go buy this. And that's the only reason I bought it. So it's hard to get me the way that I think about things to not buy something. And my one purchase isn't moving the needle for Lego, don't you worry. I know people like to say, well, if you don't like it, why'd you buy it? But I'm sure you probably want to know Lego Star Wars specifically. That's never gonna happen. I'm never not gonna buy a Lego Star Wars set. I really wanna have every Lego Star Wars set ever. I enjoy collecting it. I want them, you know, good and bad. And I certainly wanna share my opinion on it in a video format with the set in hand. And to do that, I have to buy the set because Lego doesn't pamper me like other people with free sets. So I don't think there are sets that are so bad I consider not buying them. I see a bad set and I'm like, oh, a good review. and it kind of would defeat the purpose of reviews if every review I ever did was like, this set is great, it's a 10 out of 10, you should buy it. Like, why would you even watch a review if you know that I'm just gonna say it's really, really good and that it doesn't have any flaws? When you could just go watch a Lego Ambassador Network review and get that experience if that's what you're looking for, because it's not a review at that point, it's an advertisement. Speaking of advertisements though, thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Harry's, I'll be able to make my first mortgage payment this month and answer one of my most frequently asked questions. Am I growing out my beard or mustache? No! Harry's super sharp handcrafted blades have helped me get a clean and comfortable shave so you don't have to look at my awful mustache. Their premium razors make my shaving routine quick and easy, and the precision trimmer and flex hinge help you catch every spot. You have no idea how many times in the past I've like shaved and gone back and looked and there's a spot. It's a thing. Harry's also has a foaming shaving gel that contains aloe and a hyaluronic acid to help keep your skin looking and feeling soft post-shave. It really does feel softer than what I was using before. Their starter kit comes with everything you need. Their German-engineered 5-blade razor cartridge, a weighted handle, their shaving cream, and a travel blade cover for when you go to Lego conventions. If you ever need a refill, Harry's will deliver straight to your door, or it can be found in stores. Harry's has a 100% money-back guarantee, so make sure you click the link in the description below to get your starter kit for just $5. Now that you know I won't be growing my mustache or beard out, if you don't want to grow yours out, make sure you click the link in the description below. Or I guess to keep it trimmed if you do that, but I've never had long enough to do that sort of stuff. So link below. Thank you, Harry's. Mr. Stoner says, what are your thoughts, pros and cons to opening up a resale Lego store? Congrats on 100,000 subs on MandR Vlogs. Thank you. It would not have been possible without my vlog editor, Mateo. So really the 100,000 subs comes down to Mateo. He's done a great job on the vlog channel. So I really have to thank him for helping me get there too. But as far as opening up a resale Lego store, I'm not sure if you're asking how I would do it or if I would do it or like more of a general sense for you. But I'm gonna try to take a more broad approach here to what I think opening a resale Lego store looks like for most people. And that is that if you're a pretty big Lego fan, and if you're watching this video, you probably are, you would probably find it very fulfilling. It would be a super fun and interesting thing to run. It's something that you probably know pretty well, and you would obviously learn a lot more doing. Another pro to me is you just never know what's gonna come in, and you get to keep whatever you want to keep out of what you're buying from people. So if you get some really cool stuff in that you just don't want to sell, well, you don't sell it, now you keep it for your collection. You could end up getting some pretty cool things for your collection. As far as cons though, there's the obvious risk of losing a lot of money if you don't do it right or you don't know enough about what you're doing specifically with Lego. And the other thing with opening up a Lego resale store is you're very much honing yourself in on one singular market. You are not, like, it's basically like buying one stock of one company versus like a S&P 500, like broad index stock or whatever it is that they call it in the finance world, right? So you're basically really nailing yourself down to one thing. And it's like if Lego goes kaput and everyone starts hating Lego and no one's buying Lego, well then your business is kind of screwed, right? So instead of opening just a general toy store where Lego is part of your business and you have all of these other toys that even if Lego sales dip, your store's still gonna do fine on the whole because all of these other toys are still selling. I think it could be a good business avenue for a lot of people. It's something that I've definitely been interested in doing myself in the past. Not really so much at this current point in my life. I just got too much else going on. Maya Joy says, what 3 ships would be your top picks for Midi scale? Also, congrats on the house. Thank you. And yeah, again, it is Midi scale, not micro or mini scale, because mini sets are a thing from the early 2000s and Midi scale is a distinct thing in the middle, hence Midi. So thus far, we've had 4 with the Millennium Falcon, the Star Destroyer, the Nebulon B frigate, and now the Super Star Destroyer. I think it would be interesting to see a Death Star in Midi scale. I don't know how they define it though. Like once it's $200, do they still define it as Midi scale? Because I really want the globe set basically redone as a Death Star and sold like that in that scale. And I don't know if they would define that as Midi scale or if they just sold it for $240 and just call it UCS, because I don't really care either way, but that would be a top pick pick because it is something that is substantially smaller than the previous versions of Death Star, but is distinctly larger than mini sets of the early 2000s. Obviously, I'd rather a UCS Venator, but I think a lot of people want a Venator, so a Venator in Midi scale would be fascinating to see. I've also really always wanted some sort of displayable AT-AT that's substantially smaller than the $100 versions that they've released for years. I think the Tantive could also be really well done in Midi scale. That's another set, much like the AT-AT, that they've never really been able to do under $150 or whatever. So seeing a smaller displayable version of the Tantive would fit right in with the existing Nebulon B frigate and be pretty cool on its own. JH13 says, since you mentioned a building series, what was your favorite building series that you've done in the past? I've done a handful of them to varying levels of completion and success. We've done Hoth a couple of times, I think. We've done the Building Naboo Mocktober. I did Building a Clone Base Mocktober that only got like 2 episodes in, and then I didn't do any of the rest of it. Of course, my classic April Fool's Building Camino mock series, but I think the favorite one I've done is the one I actually completed, and that's Mocktober 2018 with Building Naboo. That was right after Who is America came out with Sacha Baron Cohen. He's the guy that does Borat. Me and my friends really enjoyed that series, and my buddy Anton did some like voice acting for me as like a drill sergeant instructor that he did. And so if you've never seen this, I still think it's absolutely hilarious.
MandRproductions is known around the globe for his incredible mock building skills. While there's no photographic evidence, eyewitnesses say that when he was just 4, he built a Duplo tower taller than himself. In 2009, he uploaded a video titled Lego Star Wars Custom Clone Carrier Review. It has been viewed over 400 times and is known as one of the best mocks ever. Perhaps his best work came in about 2016 when he set out to build Camino. Many thought this to be impossible, but that didn't stop him. He constructed a mock so elegant it brings tears to my eyes. Oh my goodness. Now, MandRproductions is challenging himself like no one before him. Mocktober. 1 man, 1 month, 1 mock. Battle of Naboo. Yalla, let's go.
Filming those sorts of things with friends like that and like writing that stuff and coming up with like what I think would be funny for a video is the most fun I'll ever have making a mock series. Who knows, or that I've had. Who knows, in the future with Hoth, I could have some fun with it. I don't know if I'll do that sort of fun intro for Hoth, but if I bring Mocktober back this October, I think we'll try to do something like that again. It could be a lot of fun. Justice says, what do you do with your sets after you review it? A lot of them I keep to eventually be displayed when I get all of the display stuff set up in the room down there. You can see it's kind of a mess right now, but a lot of them I keep, and have recently been putting into bins to keep them dust-free to eventually be put onto the dust-free display. Some of them I end up selling on Whatnot, so, you know, I don't know what percentage, maybe 5 or 10% end up getting sold on Whatnot. A few maybe I give away here and there. Some of them I'll sell to friends for really good deals. I think I sold Thor's hammer to my buddy Jared for $50, so that was half price. So I think the Hulkbuster I sold for like $150 or $200 to Coach Felder. And the one thing I don't do, but I know there are some people that do this, is part your set out after you're done building it. And obviously some people build it and part it out and they don't make videos, but for people that make videos, some of them make the review and then they'll part it out into their parts collection. And that may be something I find myself doing more often in the future, as I've been starting to sort a lot of my parts back there from Pick-a-Brick cups mostly, and some from Bricklink. But as I want to build more mocks in the future, I may find it useful to review a set and then have the parts from the set instead of selling it for the money or keeping it for my collection. Like all the Indiana Jones sets I'm probably going to keep for my collection, but like if I'm reviewing some Marvel sets like the Hulkbuster, that like I only bought the Hulkbuster because I thought it was a bad set and I thought it'd be a cool video to talk about, like that sort of thing I'd probably part out. Or maybe with the Black Panther, that might be something, I know you can't see it off screen, but the Black Panther that Zavi sent me, I might part that out after I'm done and keep all of the parts for my part collection so that I have them to build cool mocks in the future, because I'm just gonna have to buy parts in the future anyway, so why not just keep what I have now? AlfieTubeHG says, what is the most unlikely Star Wars set for next year? A UCS bust of Watto would probably be the most unlikely set for next year. It's just not happening. G-Vald says the microfighter price at $16 is basically saying that Grogu is $6. And you're right, it is saying that Grogu is $6. And to be fair, on the open market, on like Bricklink or eBay or whatever, Grogu probably sells for $6. But you know what's more interesting about this? The Grogu keychain sells for $6. So you're paying the extra $6, except you're not getting the chain part. So you're missing that part of the value. So Lego really is ripping you off here. Cooper says, I wish Star Wars sets had as fair prices as the Indiana Jones sets. 35 or 40 bucks for the fighter plane chase set and 40 or 45 bucks for the Escape from the Lost Tomb set. And those are some incredible prices. Target system had the Tomb set for 80 bucks, which feels much more in line for what you'd expect for a set for 600 pieces that has really big pieces. Peter says, what credit card do you use? Yeah, let me just get you those numbers real quick so you can know the exact, no, I'm kidding. I have a few credit cards at this point, and I went down the rabbit hole a few months ago and watched a bunch of like financial YouTubers talking about the best rewards credit cards and all of that stuff, and I applied for some and didn't get all the ones I wanted, but I currently mainly use 2 credit cards, that being the Apple card, which generally gets me 2% cash back when I use Apple Pay, except for other certain stores where you get 3%, and I also use it just so that I get like the notification on my phone anytime like a purchase goes through, so that I know that I'm buying things, or if like I'm on a subscription plan, I know it's going through properly. Like for my storage unit, I know my storage unit is getting paid for. I also use the Wells Fargo Active Cash Card. That one just offers 2% cash back across the board. So it's just one of those things. I'm going to talk about this in a video not too long from now about how to maximize your spend for like building a Lego clone army. And of course you can extend that to literally anything, but these rewards credit cards offering 2% cash back is like one of the biggest no-brainers to me for anyone of eligible age. Obviously, if you're 13, 14, 15 years old watching this or whatever, you can't quite get a credit card yet maybe, but once you're of age, it's one of the things that I wish I had done earlier. I used a debit card forever up until just a few years ago. I'm 25 now. I wish I had just started at 18, you know, get a secured credit card from your bank so you can't screw it up. Don't spend more money than you have, all the basic things. And in return for that, for buying things you would have bought otherwise, you're gonna get money back, and it's just free money back into your bank account or into your rewards account, whatever it is for whatever system you have set up with your credit card. You can take that money and of course put it towards college, food, rent, mortgage, anything under the sun, or of course, for my case, a lot of extra Lego sets or clone troopers, or, you know. But I hope that answer helps you, Peter. Those cards I would suggest, I've had good experiences with them, but there are certainly other cards out there if you go look on like NerdWallet that might be an even better fit for you depending on what you're trying to do. But that is gonna do it for this episode. If you have a question for episode 260 next week, leave it down in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, check out my moving vlogs on MandR Vlogs or my Indiana Jones set reviews. Oh, and our sponsor Harry's with the link in the description below. See ya.